Hi, and welcome back to Yoga with Tim. For today's class, you're going to have a couple of blocks, a fluffy dog, and a yoga mat. We're going to get started today in Supta Baddha Konasana. So lie down onto your back with the soles of your feet together, the knees wide apart. Let your hips start to open, and release your arms at your side. You can go into cactus position with the arms. So these common areas of stress and tension, the hips and the shoulders, bring a lot of strain into the neck and to the lower back. So I want you to imagine that you could, as the chest starts to open, that you could direct your breath all the way down into your pelvis. And feel the pelvis start to expand and spread as you breathe in. Let the weight of the shoulders drop. And just feel the vibration in your body. Feel yourself coming into the body. Then bring your knees together and take your feet the width of your mat. And as you inhale, let your knees swivel over to the right as you look to your left. Come back to center. Let the knees swivel left as you look to your right. Change sides. Change sides. Then come back to center, take Baddha Konasana legs again. Interlock your fingers, take your arms straight up, and as you inhale, start to reach your arms back. As you exhale, bring the arms back up. Change the interlock, and as you inhale, reach your arms back. Exhale back up. Then bring your knees together and take the legs up into tabletop position. Feel your rib cage stabilize in its neutral position, your neck and your lower back long. Then slowly stretch your right leg forward and your left arm back. Come back up and change sides. Back up. Now as you reach out, think of your tailbone elongating towards your heel and reach through the crown of your head back. Back up. Change sides. Back up. Change sides. Back up and change sides. Then hug your right knee into your chest as you stretch your left leg out along the floor. Change legs, hug your left knee in as you stretch your right leg out along the floor. It's actually a nice kind of stretch with the leg out to the side a little. It's a little different angle. You could try this at home if you have a dog in the way. Okay, then plant your feet and roll over to your side. Come onto your hands and your knees, and we'll warm up the spine with a little bit of cat-cow. So hands under the shoulders, knees under the hips. Now I want you to initiate the movement from your pelvis. Start to tuck the pelvis and then round through the spine like a wave rolling up through the spine. And then untuck from the pelvis and wave the spine. Do that again. Tuck the pelvis and then roll through the spine. And arch your back. Then come into neutral position, neutral pelvis, and without your middle sinking or twisting, reach your right leg back, push through your heel, send your left arm forward. Lower your hand and your knee, change sides. Keep the lower back long, release your right hip crease back as you push through your left heel and reach past your hand. Change sides. Change sides. Then lower your hand and your knee and stretch back into your first downward dog. So rotate your upper arms externally, spin the inner armpits forward, roll the outer shoulders down towards the floor. And then open up your toes, let the toes start to fan out and the sole of the foot open. And then keeping the toe tips down, slowly lower your knees and start to stretch your hips back towards your heels. But as you're doing that, instead of collapsing in your spine, elongate the spine. So this will be like an elongated child's pose modification, down dog hybrid situation. Then come back up onto your hands and your knees and stretch back into your dog. Then set the knees down and stretch back over your heels. Then walk your hands back towards your feet. And upright yourself. Bring your knuckles to your temples with your thumbs pointing down. And as you exhale, draw your elbows in. Inhale, open up. Exhale, draw elbows in. Inhale, open up. Exhale, draw in. Inhale, open up. Then stretch the arms out to the side. Curl your fingers in, turn your thumbs back, and make little external circles. But as you're doing this, don't let your hips or your middle push forward. Keep the spine feeling like when you're on your back at the beginning. And then turn the thumbs down, make little internal circles. And this is just to turn on your shoulder muscles so that they'll help to work when you're doing your planks and your down dogs. And then point the thumbs up, bend the elbows, and as you inhale, stretch your arms up. And as you exhale, bend elbows out to the side and rotate externally. Raise your arms up. Bend out to the side, rotate externally. Raise your arms up. Bend out to the side, rotate externally. Raise your arms up. And then as you exhale, twist to your right, spread your arms. Inhale back up, twist to your left. Inhale back up, twist to your right. Inhale back up. And then let's make a swimming motion with the arms. More like a drowning motion. This is how you swim, then you would be drowning. And then in reverse. Okay, good. Then come back onto your hands and your knees and stretch back into your dog. Then one handprint at a time, walk your hands back to your feet. Put a little bend in your knees, let your head drop. And roll yourself up to stand. Spread your arms, rotate your arms externally and reach all the way up. Spread the arms out again and tip from your pelvis, fold forward. Inhale into a flat back and then walk out into a plank. Hold in your plank. Shoulders right over the heel of the hand. Spine long. Now root through your toe mounds and lift up your inner thighs. Make sure your butt isn't tucked at all, but your tailbone is reached towards your back heels as you open up your collarbones forward. Then without losing the plank, bring the left knee up to your chest. Change legs. Right knee up to your chest. Right hip crease back, reach through your left inner heel. Change legs. Change legs. Then set that foot down, lie down onto your belly. Spread your elbows out to the side into a cactus position. Press the tops of the feet down, lift the inner knees up, and then lift the hands up. Rotate the arms externally. Now spread from your shoulders, from the back of the neck into the elbows as you lift the hands up to shoulder height. Hollow out your belly, draw your navel up towards your heart. Then stretch both arms back behind you, roll your chest open, roll the shoulders open. Place your hands next to your side ribs. Now without the shoulders sinking in front of the chest, push your knees down, lift your belly, and then lift the hips and the belly up and back. So that'll teach you to be able to go up and down into a chaturanga using your core. Let's try it one more time. Lower slowly all the way onto your belly. Good, pause there, shoulders up away from the floor, blades on the back. Now push down with your knees, lift your belly, and then instead of doing the worm, lift up all at one, like there's a stick up your back. And then stretch back into dog. Walk your feet to the front of your mat. Inhale, that's okay, you can stay there. Inhale, make a flat back, if you want. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, come all the way up, raise your arms up. Exhale, Samasthiti. Inhale, raise your arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, make a flat back. And step back one leg at a time, plank pose. Hold in your plank with your chest open, navel up. Then bring your right knee up to your chest without your middle twisting. Change legs, left knee up. Stretch that leg back. Now bring your right knee to your right outer armpit. Stretch it back. Change legs. Stretch back. Then lower slowly all the way onto your belly. Stretch your arms out to the side. Then lift the elbows up. Spread from your shoulders into your elbows from the base of the neck. Press to the tops of the feet down. Lift the inner knees. Stretch both arms straight back. Open up your chest. And then with your hands at your side, lower the chest to the floor a bit. Now like there's a stick up your back, tail to your crown. Lift up with the Danda spine. And then stretch back to dog. So I'd say before you start lowering into chaturangas, you should be able to do that lift up action with the hands and without doing the worm. Don't do the worm. Raise your right leg. Oh, let's try this. Do you got your blocks? Okay. Now if stepping is an issue, or if you have really tight hamstrings, I would recommend trying out these blocks for size. Okay, so this first it helps, like if your down dog looks kind of like this, even with your knees bent, it would be better for you to bring your hands up onto something, like blocks for a chair seat. And that'll help you to get length from your wrists to your hips. Also, if the stepping is difficult, the blocks just raise up the floor for your hands so that you can step up a little easier. So stretch your right leg back behind you, grow the right inner leg from the tail, stretch both hips out of the lower back, and then bring your knee to your chest, pull up, and then lightly step. Oh, look at how easy that foot goes up there now. Lower your back knee down. That should make an infomercial for blocks. With ease, you could just step up. It's so easy, $9.95. Come on up, lift from your belly. Go to the website now for a limited time. Raise your arms up. And then let's go to the phones, and we're going to talk with Sarah in Miami, who is loving the... Sarah, are you loving the blocks? I'm loving the blocks, Tim. They're, okay, now, this gotten way out of hand. This is so long with that. Take your arms back up. Bring your hands down. Lift your back knee up. Now plant your left hand. Turn your rib cage, and take your right arm up. Don't let your back thigh sink. Keep the left back thigh lifted. Bring your hands down and step back, downward dog. Raise your left leg up from the inner thigh, stay even across your hands. Bring your knee to your chest, shift in the plank and pull it up. Step your foot all the way up by your thumb lightly. Lower your back knee. These blocks make it so much easier. Lift from your navel and come up. Bend the elbows out to the side, expand the chest. Raise your arms up. Bring your hands down, lift your back knee up. Then plant your right hand flat and spin and twist. but don't shout. Lift the back thigh, turn your rib cage, keep lengthening out through the midline through your crown. Find the danda quality of the spine again. Bring your hand down and step it back. Dog pose. Then look in between your hands, step, walk, or float to the front. Inhale into a flat back. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, come all the way up, raise your arms up. Exhale, Samastiti. Balance the pelvis back over the ankles, press to the heels and open the soles of your feet. Inhale, raise your arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, flat back. Step back into plank pose, one leg at a time. Find your plank here, shoulders right over the heel of the hand, navel up, collarbones open. Then bring your right knee to your right outer armpit. Change legs, left knee to your left outer armpit. Stretch it back. Right knee to left armpit. Stretch back. Left knee to right armpit. Stretch back, hold, and then lower slowly, like you gotta stick up your back. Spread the arms straight out to the side now. And then lift the hands up. We'll do the little knuckle position we did at the beginning of class. Press the tops of the feet down, lift the inner knees. Then stretch your arms straight back behind you, open up your chest. And place your hands next to your side ribs. This time you can add an up dog, roll through into up dog or hold in low cobra, opening the chest and elongating the spine. If you're in up dog, lower your ribs back down. Now knees down or not, push straight up like you gotta stick up your back. And then stretch back into down dog. Good, from down dog, step your right foot all the way up by your right thumb, but pull the knee up slowly, use your abs, step the foot. Then pause here for a moment as you lengthen the lunge. Imagine you had a rope across your right hip and it was being pulled back towards your back heel. Elongate from your back ankle out through your spine, then press into the right heel, engage your right glute, lift your belly and raise your arms up. Bring your hands down and stretch back, downward dog. Add a vinyasa if you like. Step your left foot all the way up by your left thumb, but pull the knee up, strong in your core, lightly float the foot. Then come up onto your fingertips. As you let the left hip crease, groin release back, connect to your back heel, grow your spine. Then as you descend your left heel, lift from your belly. Ooh, not as easy on this side to keep the hip crease release. Come up straight up through the midline, raise your arms. Bring your hands back down. Step back to down dog or Adho Vinyasa. Look in between your hands. Step or float up to the front of your mat. Inhale, flat back. So if you're gonna do the float, it should be so light that you don't disturb a sleeping dog. If there was a sleeping dog, one of my teachers used to say, if there's a sleeping baby next to your mat, if there's a sleeping dog, your jump should not disturb them. Fold forward. Chair pose, bend your knees, sit your hips back. Get into your heels, feel the heels descend, the soles of the feet open. Now feel both of the sit bones opening up evenly. And then feel the outer hips start to pin so the navel draws up. Now raise your arms up. Stay back into the heels again. Open the feet. Good, then stand. And fold forward. Let's come into that chair one more time. Fingertips down. Bend the knees, sit back, get into the center of each heel bone. Open the toes, navel in. Then stay in the heels as you lift from your navel, compact your hips, raise your arms. Good, this time arms stay up. Press your heels, come all the way up. Grow down from the hips into the feet, and through the waist, grow up through the fingers. Nice job. Bring your arms back down and grow tall up over the ankles. Then bring your right heel up onto your left inner thigh for Vrikshasana, tree pose. Join the palms together. And once you're steady, raise your arms up. Now in this one, I like to do a little variation sometimes to open up the triceps and the shoulders, where you slide the hands behind the head. And then draw the elbows in towards the midline. Breathe into the opening of the outer side ribs, shoulders, armpits. Bring your arms back down, lower your leg down. Change sides, bring your left heel up onto your right inner thigh. Join palms. And once steady, raise the arms. Rotate the arms externally. And hold there or slide hands behind the head. Then release the arms, release the leg, step back up to the top of the mat, inhale the arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, flat back. Step back into down dog or take a vinyasa. Step your right foot all the way up to your right thumb. Then turn your back heel down, flat onto the floor. Press your right knee out so your right knee is tracking with your right center ankle, and hug the hip in so it's in the same line. Then as you press to your right heel, lift from your navel, come up into warrior two. So glance and make sure that you saw that line in your right leg. Sometimes you can take your left foot over to the left more if it's difficult to hold that line in your leg. But really important, you want to have that all lined up. Open up from the shoulders into the fingertips. Keep your back heel grounded. Then start to tip from your hips out over your leg. And this other action, I want you to connect your outer hips towards your back heel. So imagine you're fastening the outer hips to the back heel as you go to place your hand down. Find that action once you get the hand onto what it's going onto. And then stretch your left arm all the way over and turn the palm so it's level to the floor. Come back up into warrior two. Bring your hands to the mat, step back to down dog, or take a vinyasa. And then look in between your hands, step your left foot all the way up by your left thumb with control. Turn your back heel, and then lift from your middle. Keep that knee hip tracking as you open up into warrior two. So make sure that the back leg joints aren't locked, the ankle, the knee is open. And then feel a flow of energy from your hip into your foot. And then conversely, from the arch of the foot, up the inseam of the leg up into the chest. Spread from the collarbones and the base of the back of the neck into the fingers like we did in the belly back bend series. Then connect from your outer hips towards your back heel as you tip out over your leg. And take your top arm all the way over. Turn the palm so it's level to the floor. And as you grow the outer hip connection to the back heel, Lengthen through the sides of your waist. Breathe all the way down into your pelvis like we started at the beginning. Then press to your feet. Come back up into warrior two. Feels so good to stretch. Turn the toes in so the feet are parallel. From here, let's go into triangle pose. So turn your left leg in slightly, turn your right leg all the way out. Then connect from the outer hips towards the left heel to tip you over. Put your hand down wherever you like, block or floor. Open all four corners of your right foot into the mat. Then from here, let's practice Ardha Chandrasana. Bend your knee. Now strong in the back leg. Slide your back foot a little closer. Put your hand and foot in front of your pinky toe. Keep the alignment that we practiced in Warrior Two as you lift the back thigh up from the inner thigh. Press from the tail into the heels. Reach the outer hip into the heel. Then grow your waist long. Same actions, simple actions that we're adding to the poses today. Then bend your knee and slide back into triangle pose. Lift from your knee, we'll come back up. Turn your legs to the other side and reach out. Then bend your knee, slide your back foot forward, slide the hand and foot in front of the pinky toe. Make sure the leg is tracking like in Warrior Two, the front leg, as you raise the back leg from the inner thigh. Imagine there was a weight on your heel. Then lift that, press against the imaginary weight and reach from the hips into the heel. Elongate the tip of the tail into the heel as you reach your waist forward. From the side ribs, go forward. And then slowly glide back into triangle pose. Reach to your feet and come back up to stand. Good, then with your feet parallel, hands on your hips, roll your shoulders open. Tip from your pelvis and fold forward. Set your fingertips down, inhale, flat back. Exhale, walk the hands back, let your head drop. Then inhale into a flat back, elongate your spine. Reach to your feet and come all the way up to stand. Turn your left leg out and step up to the top of your mat. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, flat back. Step back into down dog. Inhale into plank. Open your chest in your plank, strong legs. Now lift your right leg 1 inch without your hips twisting. Change legs, left leg 1 inch. Set that foot down. Pull your right knee up and round your back. Step your foot up in between your hands. Then set your back foot a little bit closer and turn the heel down. Come up onto the tall blocks and start to elongate your spine. Now make a flat back, so you might need to come up under fingertips, tall blocks. You might even need a chair or scaffolding to hold on to, something to get you upright. But make sure that you feel that you have a flat back, a neutral spine. Then maintaining this long neutral spine, spin your back heel up. Then slide your hands or chair or whatever you're using a foot in front of your foot. Feel your right hip crease release back, waist elongate, and then press back through your back heel as you lift it up to hip height. Now let's just see, could you take your right arm back while still maintaining the length? Good, then lower your left leg to meet your right and let your head drop. Inhale, flat back. Step back into down dog. Inhale, plank pose. Pull your left knee up to your chest. Change legs, right knee up. Change legs, left knee up, and pull up. And lightly step your foot up by your thumb. Then set up your back heel for Parsvottanasana. Straighten your left leg and elongate through the spine. Open the center of your back heel into the floor. Feel the spine becoming more buoyant. All the spaces in between the discs. Breathe. Now maintain this line. It's super important that you found it no matter how high up you had to come. Don't cheat yourself. Then scoot the back foot a little closer, slide the blocks of foot in front of your foot, and then keeping your hip balanced right over your ankle, start to float the back leg. Press through the heel, hips connect into the heels, the hip crease releases back. Now grow the trunk as long as you can. Get that back leg all the way up to hip height. And then let's see, without leaning to the side, float the left arm back behind you. And fold forward at the front of your mat, Uttanasana. Inhale, flat back. Then lower your buttocks to your heels and come into boat pose. Before we go into boat pose, actually, let's try this sucker. Come into Baddha Konasana pose. So soles of the feet together, knees apart. Open from your groins to your knees. Feel the spine tall. Now in this pose, instead of slouching in the lower back, don't do slouch asana. Grow the spine tall. Then hook your big toes, lean yourself back halfway, find your tailbone, balance between your tailbone and your sit bones, pull up through the spine, and then start to stretch the legs out to the side. Urdhva Konasana. Now you might need to keep the knees bent in this pose to keep the spine upright, that's fine. Whether the legs are bent or straight, bring them close together. Keep pulling up through the spine. And then cinch the legs into each other as you take your arms forward. Don't let the knees fall away from your chest. Keep them pretty close towards each other. Then bend your knees, round onto your lower back, and open up your arms out to the side. Stack the legs in table. Slowly send your right leg forward and lower it without losing the crunch in your side ribs. Hug your side ribs down. Change legs. Keep the lower back in neutral, the neck free and long, the chest open. Change legs. Change legs. Sorry, change legs. Change legs. Then bring both legs up into table, open the arms out to the side. Let's work the obliques, take the knees over to the right a third of the way while opening the left chest shoulder. Back to center. Legs to the left. Back to center. Over to the right. Don't let the spine shrink to take the legs further. To the left.
Back up. Now a little bit of six-pack abs. Hands behind the head, curl up to your knees. Stretch the right leg forward and lower slow. Change sides. Change sides. Change sides. Good, then set the feet down, hip distance apart, hands next to your sides, lift your outer hips up. Now bring your hands right here to your trochanters, that pokey outer hip bone, and start to suck those into each other. From that action, squeeze the backs of the legs and go up. Press down, drive into the heels, arms to your side, roll the chest open. Then slowly lower your hips down. Open your arms to the side with your right ankle crossed over your left knee. Let your legs fall over to the left. And look to your right. Back to center. Legs over to the right. And look to your left. Come back to center. Then to get into the hips, you can either do ankle to knee pose, this figure four. Let's just stick with this. Ankle to knee pose. Cross your right ankle over your left knee. Gently start to hug your knee in. Now feel the barrier in your right outer hip. You feel the resistance. You don't have to feel an intense amount of resistance. Whatever you feel, I want you to just breathe into that. Feel where it goes. Does it go down into the leg at all? And as you breathe and start to relax, can you feel the barrier start to dissipate? Direct your breath right to where you feel the sensation. Yeah, it's kind of cool. And then let the sensation start to melt away. Sometimes I'm guilty of this. In yoga, I have to go to like where I feel extreme sensation. You don't always have to go to that. You want to, in fact, be going when you're doing this deep stretching to just like a 5 on a scale of 1 to 10. And then by the end of the stretch, you should be dropped all the way down to like a 2 or a 1. Okay, good. That's about a 1 now. Let's change sides. If when you're stretching, you're trying to go to like a 10 every time you're doing a stretch, what that does is it actually cues the nerves in your body to fight back. And then it creates more resistance. So if you're wondering why I try stretching all the time and I'm not getting more flexible, I would suggest backing off a little and then letting the body open up. Then release that. Hug your knees into your chest. And then let's practice doing a little bit of a roll. So this can be good for your spine or bad for your spine. You just have to distinguish what's appropriate for you. But we used to do this in the primary series in Ashtanga, a little bit different technique though, it's a little more Pilates-like. So first, do a little tuck with your butt, tuck your abs in, and then roll up onto your sit bones, and then back to your shoulders. Up onto the sit bones, back to your shoulders, up onto your sit bones, and cross your legs, and hop back into a chaturanga. Into an up dog,
And back to down dog. Woo, it's coming down. This is the most exciting thing that's ever happened weather-wise in Southern California. We've been getting rain the last week, and people are like, oh my God, it's raining in Southern California. People are closing their businesses. They don't know what to do. Walk your feet forward and let your head drop. Then come back into the Utkatasana, sit the hips back, navel in, raise your arms up. Stand and release your arms at your side. Then step your right foot back about 4 feet. With your feet parallel, put your hands on your outer hips, roll your shoulders open, and tip from your pelvis. Good. Back to Prasarita. With the flat back, open up the soles of the feet. Make sure the ankles and the knees haven't locked back at all. And then as you soften your belly towards your spine, walk your hands over to the right. So this is going to help to open up the side body, but keep the stretch through your left leg as you're doing this. Then walk your hands over to the right. I'm sorry, left. But keep the stretch through, I was thinking right. Just keep the stretch through the right leg and open up your right side body. Imagine your side ribs like gills from your waist, armpit, chest, all the way up into the neck like gills. And then back to center, flat back. Then wiggle your feet in and lower your knees down. Next, we're going to try a pose called Parigrasana, or gate latch pose. So we're going to try the upright foot variation on this one. So turn your right big toe up, knee up, spread your arms out to the side. This is going to be an important one for side body opening. Turn your palms up, and then as you press down through your left shin, start to tip over, reach over. Now there's 2 different variations that we're going to work on. One is where you just open up and create as much opening through your side body as you can as you press down through the shin. And then the next variation, without the shin collapsing, soften the navel to the spine and then start to slide the hands towards the foot without the hip going along for the ride. Keep your hips stacked over your ankle. Come back up and change sides. Oh, so that's a nice stretch there. So, who would have guessed? Yoga is a good stretch. Turn your palms up, press down through your shin, and then start to reach over. Now this is a really important pose to start to open your side body for some of the more advanced poses in yoga. We're working on these like keystone poses today, which just for our conscious movement community, we're doing these. Everyone else can just suck it. No, I mean, everyone. These are because you guys are invested in really deepening your practice. So these are going to help. And then see if you can slide a little further. And come back up. Pretty good. Okay, nice. Next, let's stretch back into the down dog. And then set your knees down for Virasana. Then walk the hands back for preparation for Purvattanasana. So in this one, roll the shoulder heads up and expand your chest. Roll, 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 roll your shoulders. Okay, now as you suck the outer hips in from the outer hip bones like we practiced in bridge, start to lift the buttock from the outer hip action. Like those outer hips are pulling you up.
Don't let the chest close. If the chest starts to collapse, stop lifting. Then lower your butt back down. Okay, now let's try it with the feet out in front. So have a seat on your block, feet out in front of you. Hands go open, chest goes open. Now really important, I don't know if I said this already, really important that you get that chest lift. Middle 3 knuckles down, shoulders open. And then as you engage those outer hips, start to lift the hips up. And then stretch one leg out along the floor. Other leg out. Lower your butt. How'd it go? Let's try to workshop this for just a second. That's where we add like a little prop thingy to make you better at it. Lie down with your heels on a block, like so. Hands next to your side. Now cinch your outer thighs. You could even make it more cinchy if you use our friend the strap. Cinchy, that's what he used to say in 3rd grade. So cinchy? Okay, so cinch it. That means something is very easy. Such a cinch. Okay, here we go. Cinch the legs and then press your heels down and lift. Stretch your hips out of your lower back, lengthen from your waist, and suck the legs into each other as you all at the same time press into the strap. And then lower your butt back down. Good. Should we try with the strap? Why not? Okay, roll the chest open. Stack your body parts up. And then start to lift the butt up. And legs go out. Then do that extra action, push down, squeeze the legs, and lower your butt. Okay, cool. So that one can be a little challenging if you have any shoulder issues. Like I can't go very deep into the pose. I busted my shoulder pretty bad skateboarding like 8 years ago. So the shoulder's still a little weird for that one. So just if you feel like that's too much on your shoulders, don't try to really push the up movement. Just be like where you're pushing into your hands and feel where you feel the barrier. Don't try to jam past the barrier. All right. So now come back to our Baddha Konasana position that we did for the ab work. And then take the feet forward just slightly and start to go into the forward movement of the Baddha Konasana. So this is an important concept. We want to be able to create a Danda spine. So I talked about this in the future. I talked about this in next week's video, where in all of our seated poses, we want to be able to have the Danda spine. So make sure that as you're tipping forward, you can first create the Danda spine, the flat back, before you start to try to go into full forward flexion. And then come back up. And then take Upavista Konasana. That's with the legs like this. All right, so first things first, knees upright, toes upright. See if you can create that. And then maybe start to walk the hands forward. See if you can find the long spine again
And then if that's all going really well, maybe bring the elbows down onto a block or onto the floor. But it should still feel like the groins, the hip creases can drop down. Let the sacral joints spread towards the outer knees. And then come back up. Now let's work on Mahamudra, which is a variation of Janu Sirsasana, to get the Danda spine. So turn to face your right big toe with your left leg in Janu Sirsasana. Now, if your butt is all tucked under, it would be good to stick junk underneath your butt, like blankets or whatever, just to work on the upright seat. So that's first, stick up the back feeling. If you have the stick up the back, then you can start to lean and maybe grab a hold of your foot, like so. Okay, now once you get the foot, create the stick up the back feeling again. Let the sit bones release towards the floor. The thighs should release both down onto the mat. Then from there, the Mahamudra is to engage the bandhas. It means the great seal. So from your pelvic floor, first open the pelvic floor, the space in between the sit bones, and open your diaphragm, your bottom rib cage. Open the roof of your mouth, the crown of your head, and then imagine you could draw energy straight up from the center of the pelvic floor, up the spine, feel the navel draw up the front of the spine, up towards the throat, and then gently start to tuck your chin towards your chest. Bring the jaw back and the back of the skull up. And slowly release that. Oh, there's a whole lot that's going on there. When you do that traction technique with the thighs releasing down, it's really important for your spine, for the muscles to get that, and for the fascial lines. Change sides. In fact, there's this whole method. I don't know if you guys have seen this at all. It's called the Eldoa method. It's by this Dr. Guy Voyer that I got turned, he's this French guy that I got turned on to from one of my friends that does ART, maybe like 6 years ago or so. But his whole method, he'll put you in different stretches and then activate that same Mahamudra type action. The only one we do it in is in Janu Sirsasana, but it can be important to create traction for your spine. We want to be able to do that here before we try the more advanced seated poses. Okay, so let's reach out and grab a hold of the foot. Let the thighs release down. Open up the sit bones, and then from the center of the pelvic floor, start to go up. Feel the navel draw up the front of the spine, and then from the jaw, release back so that the chin starts to tuck slightly, and reach up the back of the skull. And slowly release that. Good. Stretch your legs out and sit in Dandasana. How did that one go? That one's kind of intense. Okay, good. Then from here, cross your legs for, what's this one called? Right knee over the left knee. For Gomukhasana. Now, if it's difficult to get the knees to cross, then stick stuff underneath your hips, block underneath the hips, or what have you. If you aren't able to bind, you can take a strap and drape it over your left shoulder, since we have the right knee on top. Then spread both arms out to the side, chest open. Take the right hand from under, left arm from above. Rotate the left arm externally. Then bend the left elbow and slide the hands towards each other. Fill in the gap with the strap. And then start to stretch in opposite directions. And slowly release that. Good, then start to tip forward with your hands on your feet. And navel to spine lengthen all the way out over your legs. So one of the reasons why I save some of the poses that are the keystone poses for these longer videos is because opening up your body takes time, and there's only so much you can do in like a half an hour yoga session to start to prepare your body for some of the more advanced things in yoga. So I kind of reserve these keystone opening poses for some of the more advanced asana for these conscious movement videos, because I know that you guys are a little more dedicated to where you'll be able to spend time in the poses to get the opening required, or to stick with the things that you need to start to prepare the muscles to turn on for certain poses that we're working. So it's a roundabout way of saying I really appreciate your dedication. It's really admirable. Come back up. Change the cross of the legs. And slide the strap over your right shoulder. Arms out to the side. Take the left hand behind the back from under. And right arm from above. Rotate externally. Then bend the elbow and slide the hand behind. Good job. Slowly release that and start to go forward. Then come back up. And let's work on Shirshasana, or its preparation. So for Shirshasana, we want to be able to have control of the shoulder blades so that the upper back doesn't round or sink. So a good way to be able to learn to do this one is with blocks against the wall. So let's see how this one goes. Slide your mat against your wall. And we're going to set up the blocks. Let's see if I can remember how to do this sucker. Okay, so we're going to take the hands around one block so they won't be doing a true headstand situation, and the elbows underneath the shoulders. Then, the head, no, that was not right at all. Let me see. That was not right either. Oh, we need more blocks in this. You know what? You need a lot more blocks in this. So I'm going to show you one other way. You need a foam block for this one. Let me grab the foam block. Now this one with the foam block is going to mimic what I wanted to do with the other blocks, but then I remember you need 4 blocks for that one. That's too many blocks. You don't have 4 blocks, do you? Okay, so we're going to try it like this. So this block is going to go for your upper back.
So the way that I position it is like this. With my head down, I set the block right so that it hits right in between my shoulder blades. Then hands go into headstand position. I feel like I got that pretty good. Knuckles close to the wall, elbows in. Okay. Then with the head down, I start to lift the hips up. Now, instead of pressing into the block, as I press down into my forearms, I want to lift the shoulder blades away from the block. Oh man, I got a lazy side I could feel. And then slowly come back down. Okay, cool. So now you can practice with your knuckles against the wall, going all the way up. And if you felt like one side of your back was wanting to collapse on the block more than the other, I want you to really focus on keeping that side in. So head down. Okay, right where the block was, lift those shoulder blades up, lift the whole shaft of the tailbone up, and then stretch the legs. And slowly lower back down. Okay, cool. So you shouldn't feel a lot of pressure on your head in that one. If the head is like doing this number, then it just is a sign that you don't have enough control of your shoulders and your arms and your neck to be able to doing a headstand yet. And you should just do the prep one first with the block right there. And that'll teach your muscles to get strong. This is a super important point for me to emphasize because your neck is so delicate and you can really screw up your neck good if you do a headstand without the lift. If you do it with the lift, it can be strengthening for your neck, good for your shoulders, but if you do it without the lift, oh man, you're gonna make a chiropractor a lot of money, I'll tell you that. Okay, so slide your mat back into its position. So the amount of pressure in your head as you're learning it should be very light. I would say made up percentage, about 75% in your arms, 25% in your head, maybe even less. So light that you could even lift your head up a little bit. Okay, so let's try one more shoulder strengthener. We're gonna go from plank into the forearms into dog in the forearms. Here we go. So as I walk in, I want to try to remember where the block was in my back. Keep that spot drawing in and up on both sides. And then walk back. And then walk in again. Where was that block again? And then walk back. And then walk in again. And then keeping the head super light, lower the head, lift the blades again, and then lift the hips up as high over the shoulders as you can. Bring one knee up into your chest, light in your head, only 5% of the weight. Change legs. And then set it into child's. Woo! All right, now take your block. Hopefully you have a wood block. I would recommend having a combination of blocks. You really have, if you really want to be legit, then you should have some wood or some like hard cork blocks, and then a soft foam one too. Foamy for that thing and that kind of stuff. Okay, lift your butt up and slide a block underneath your hips. Roll up onto the tops of the shoulders, chest open. Then bring your feet close together and slowly start to slide your right leg out along the floor. But keep the thighs cinched in like you had a strap across them. compact those outer hip bones in. And rebend your knee. Change sides. And rebend your knee. Then from here, bring the right leg up into table, but let your tail drop off. And then see if you can stretch your right leg straight up. The butt shouldn't be tucked now. Rebend your knee. Bring your left leg in the table. And stretch your left leg straight up. Then bring your right knee up to meet your left knee. And then cinch the legs. Open up the soles of the feet. Open up the balls of the toes. Grab the sides of the sticky mat and gently start to pull out as you roll the shoulders open. Keep the jaw relaxed, tongue passive. Then slowly lower your right knee and the left. Lift your hips up, compact the outer hips. Move the block and lower your butt down. Open up your arms to the side. Cross the right knee over the left knee. Shift the hips over to the right a little and let your knees fall over to the left. Come back to center. Change the cross. And let the knees fall over to your right. Then come back to center and stretch it out for corpse. The pranamaya kosha is the energetic sheath in the body. So see if you can go a little bit deeper than the outer layer, than the thinking mind, and start to shift your focus into feeling from the inside. So you might be able to feel the subtle feeling of pulse in the body, the vibratory rhythm. And as you relax deeper, the connection to that feeling might start to become enhanced. So let the body relax, the feet, the legs, arms, shoulders, neck, hips, let everything start to relax. Empty the jaw, empty the tension in the jaw and the tongue. Let the shoulders relax. Then gently bend your knees and roll over to your side. Press yourself up to seated. Bring your palms together. Namaste. All right, thanks so much. So a few new, not so often poses that we worked on. What was that one called? Parigrasan, gate latch pose. You should remember these Sanskrit names, it's important. Parigrasan, Purvottanasana, which is the reverse plank. We often don't do that with the legs straight. That's like the full expression. It's important for developing the shoulders and the back muscles for headstand. And Shirshasana, the king of all the poses, headstand. Now, headstand shouldn't be practiced without a cooling variation of Sarvangasana, or Sarvangasana is cooling, some variation of Sarvangasana right after. So we did supported bridge with legs extended and then both legs up. You can also just do legs up the wall if you're going to practice the headstand. But I don't recommend practicing the headstand cold. If you notice, we did all of this stuff to help to educate the muscles, get all the muscles in the body warmed up. So important to do that. Don't be jamming your neck. You know, really respect the headstand. It's the king, and kings can mess people up pretty good if you haven't looked at history at all. So this, we just have to be very powerful, but very destructive. It's just a record of history. Okay, so have a great day. I really hope that you enjoyed today's class. If you have a moment, go to the Facebook group right now, the Conscious Movement Community Facebook group, and drop me a line. Love to hear from you on there and be able to connect with you on the practice. I also want to know things that you want to see in the future. I'm going to keep doing what I want to do. No, but it's good to know what you guys are looking for on here. I'll keep sharing with you things that I think are important. And we're also going to do a pranayama video. So if you want to see more of that stuff, more of the subtle body stuff, just let me know. It'd be good to hear from you. See you later.